Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Squirrel's taking some berries out of there. So where are we?
We are sitting in Tavistock Square. Behind you is a memorial statue to Mahatma Gandhi, and there's like lots of fresh bouquets of flowers have been placed at his feet at the base. And then we were just laughing when we started because there's a squirrel. Sometimes flowers, especially during this time of the year, they have berries in the bouquet, so he's clearly grabbed some berries and having a right old feast. It's quite cute.
That's interesting. Here in the middle of a kind of, I guess you could say, aristocratic area of London. This statue of Mahatma Gandhi and everything that Mahatma Gandhi represents, and just a small, skinny Indian guy in a more or less like a loincloth and a chadar, and he basically brought down the entire British Empire. Of course, we're not trying to start a whole thing about that, but
resistance. We'll put an image of the statue in this.
But what we're here for is the real deal, not to get caught up in the politics and different bits and pieces of the material world, but to prepare ourselves for really getting out of the material world. So, like that.
So it's Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 14. By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. Purport. Sripad Shankaracharya, who is supposed to be the leader of the impersonalist school of philosophers, has admitted in the beginning of his comments on Bhagavad Gita that Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation. Except for him, everything is within the material creation. It is also confirmed in the Vedic literature that before the creation there was only Narayan. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva existed. Only Narayan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, is always in the transcendental position, beyond the influence of material creation. It's believed that Sripad Shankaracharya is he's Lord Shiva, is it not? So it's just interesting because when we were growing up as kids, we would refer to him as Shankar Dada, respectfully. It's interesting, and and it's only when I started reading Prabhupada's books and then I learned through Prabhupada that that's Shiva only came down for a specific purpose, and then he was referred to as Shankaracharya. I was thinking, we would always say Jai Shankar Dada, Jai Shankar Dada. It's interesting. I just thought
I mean, of course, again, it's just like we were discussing about a little bit about Mahatma Gandhi, but Prabhupada more or less
oh my goodness,
kind of derides predominantly Shankaracharya, while at the same time accepts and understands that he is considered one of the great acharyas of India, of the Vedic teachings. More or less he derides the misunderstandings or the misapplications or the applications of what his philosophy actually was, which was impersonalism, and completely complete monism, in the sense that we are all one with God. And of course, there's a whole reason behind, Lord Shiva making his appearance to do that, and Prabhupada puts that in the timeline that at that time Buddhism was prominent and people had gone away from the Vedic scriptures, and Buddha also came for a specific reason, and he's none other than Krishna himself, one of his incarnations, and he came to take people away from misuse of the Vedas. Shankaracharya came to bring people back to the Vedas, and then you have Ramanuja and Madhvacharya and different person, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They all came for their specific purpose and time to bring people back to the point of the following the Vedas. Also, I was thinking with this paragraph that I'm pretty sure it's Bhagavad Gita, the first of the 4 seed verses, 10:8, I think it is. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samamvitaha. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada gives many quotes showing that Krishna is the source of everything, so like that. So, and these Narayan quotes, many of them are there. The material qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance cannot affect the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is called Nirguna, free from all tinges of material qualities. Here, the same fact is confirmed by Lord Kapila. One who is situated in pure devotional service is transcendentally situated, as is the Lord. Just as the Lord is unaffected by the influence of the material modes, so too are his pure devotees. One who is not affected by the 3 modes of material nature is called the liberated soul, or Brahmabhuta soul. Brahmabhuta Prashanatma is the stage of liberation. Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body. This is applicable only to persons who constantly engage, only to the person who constantly engages in the devotional service of Krishna, and is thus in the transcendental stage. He is above the influence of the 3 modes of material nature. So I think it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is the misconception of the impersonalists that one can worship any imaginary form of the Lord or Brahman, and at the end merge in the Brahman effulgence. Of course, to merge into the bodily effulgence Brahman of the Supreme Lord is also liberation, as explained in the previous verse. Ekattva is also liberation. But that sort of liberation is never accepted by any devotee, for qualitative oneness is immediately attained as soon as one is situated in devotional service. For a devotee, that qualitative equality, which is the result of impersonal liberation, is already attained. He does not have to try for it separately. It is clearly stated here that simply by pure devotional service, one becomes qualitatively as good as the Lord himself. Qualitatively as good, but not quantitatively. Quantitative.
We're made of the same original foundational element, which is Brahman, or spiritual energy, Sat Chit and Ananda. But quantitatively, we're definitely not the Lord.
Yeah, but that's the point, that even when we become blessed or empowered by mercy to have, say, one of the just one, forget more than one, but just one of the opulences of Krishna, so you're very beautiful, or someone has some level of intelligence which brings in a lot of money or a lot of recognition, someone has, or fame is one of, whatever, even if you have one of those qualities of Krishna, the 6 opulences, we can't handle it. And so you hear about, it's all, people look up to, film stars, pop stars and this, but I'm going to be bold and say this, but 9 times out of 10, if you look at how they end their lives, it's not so glorious. And so you spend a lot of your own youth or otherwise thinking, oh, they're so amazing, and you spend money doing this, that and the other, and then you think, oh wow, is that how you ended it? because you couldn't even handle one, and even that you didn't get the opulence in full, for sure. You got a spark of that splendor. You can't deal with it. So people try to be one with God, or I am God and all this. You couldn't handle it. So don't go there. But quality wise, we have it in a smaller proportion.
Nice. Okay, we'll go into the next verse. It's a long verse in purport. I got lots of notes. A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities. Okay. And here the purport. One has to execute his prescribed duties according to his social position as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. The prescribed duties of the 4 classes of men in human society are also described in Bhagavad Gita. The activities of Brahmanas are to control the senses and become simple, clean, learned devotees. Kshatriyas have the spirit for ruling. They are not afraid on the battlefield, and they are charitable. The Vaishyas are the mercantile class of men, trade in commodities, protect cows, and develop agricultural produce. The Shudras or laborer class serve the higher classes because they themselves are not very intelligent. So Prabhupada first discussing the Varnashram system, because in the verse it's mentioned prescribed duties. So prescribed duties are, he says, are glorious, but they have to be done without material profit. So then he immediately explains the Varna system. So the Varnas, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
Next paragraph. From every position as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Swakamana tam abhayachara, one can serve the Supreme Lord by performing one's prescribed duty. It is not that only the Brahmanas can serve the Supreme Lord and not the Shudras. Anyone can serve the Supreme Lord by performing his prescribed duties under the direction of a spiritual master or representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one should think that his prescribed duties are inferior. A Brahmana can serve the Lord by using his intelligence, and the Kshatriya can serve the Supreme Lord by using his military arts, just as Arjuna served Krishna. Arjuna was a warrior. He had no time to study Vedanta or other highly intellectual books. The damsels in Vrajadam were girls born of the Vaishya class, and they engaged in protecting cows and producing agriculture. Krishna's foster father Nanda Maharaj and his associates were all Vaishyas. They were not at all educated, but they could serve Krishna by loving him and by offering everything to him. Similarly, there are many instances in which Chandalas, or those lower than Shudras, have served Krishna. Also, the sage Vidura was considered a sage because his mother... Sudra. Because his mother happened to be Shudra. There are no distinctions, for it is declared by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita that anyone engaged superficially in devotional service is elevated to the transcendental position without a doubt. Everyone's prescribed duty is glorious if it is performed in devotional service of the Lord without desire for profit. Such loving service must be performed without reason, without impediment, and spontaneously. Krishna is lovable, and one has to serve him in whatever capacity one can. That is pure devotional service. That's so nice. The whole paragraph just about you can serve, you can approach Krishna from any angle, any ability, any time, place, circumstance, situation. Especially when you're new or neophyte, it's a lot of, it can be, this one must be such a pure devotee because they do X amount of service. This one only does like 2 hours a week on a Sunday. But it's irrelevant. It's what's in the heart, what you're offering, loving service. And Krishna is lovable, Prabhupada says, and then so one can serve him in whatever capacity one can, and that is pure devotional service.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that, pure devotional service doesn't just happen at the temple.
Oh yes, I know.
Service to Krishna can happen anywhere on a deserted island where it's just you and a banana tree. The typical look of a deserted island. You can still serve the Lord because the 9 processes of devotional service start with hearing, chanting, and remembering. And actually, this is the primary mission and the primary service. Sometimes we can get easily distracted and absorbed in externals of service, so much so that we forget that the internal is actually the most important thing. That it's not just that we chant, snicker, snicker, ram, 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 or we're here kind of half-heartedly, or we don't really try to remember Krishna. But actually, while we're performing activities that are meant to be service, what is really the most important thing is what's in our heart and our consciousness while performing that service, and that becomes a big challenge. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that in the beginning we shouldn't do any external service because our mind and heart is not in the right place. No, we also have to do with whatever space our mind and heart is in, which I think this is part of what's being explained here. But as we progress more and more, steadily our consciousness should become transformed to the point where we really are feeling genuine love for Krishna and perform and do activities and service with real genuine love and affection. Can I carry on?
Yes, please.
Another significant phrase in this verse, nati him shrena. Nati him shrena. With minimum violence or sacrifice of life. Even if a devotee has to commit violence, it should not be done beyond what is necessary. Sometimes the question is put before us. You ask us not to eat meat, but you are eating vegetables. Do you think that is not violence? The answer is that eating vegetables is violence, and vegetarians are also committing violence against other living entities because vegetables also have life. Important point. Non-devotees are killing cows, goats, and so many other animals for eating purposes, and a devotee who is a vegetarian is also killing. But here, significantly, it is stated that every living entity has to live by killing another living entity. That is the law of nature. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is the life for another living entity. But for a human being, that violence should be committed only as much as necessary. Yeah, so the point is, living in this material world means you're going to commit violence in one way or another, even unknowingly. When you walk, you kill animals. When you breathe, you kill animals. When you drink water, you kill animals. When you light fire, you kill something. When you drink water, all of these things. We're causing harm to living entities. What to speak of the fact that, we eat vegetables, we eat fruits. Now, of course, they say that eating the fruit is not killing because the tree is given the fruit, but the vegetable is itself the living entity. So like that, we should do it with minimal impact and be conscious of the fact that we are still making some sort of violent impact in life in general. So like that.
You may not hear the carrot scream, but it still feels the pain. A human being is not to eat anything which is not offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yagya Sista Sina Santa. One becomes freed from all sinful reactions by eating foodstuffs which are offered to Yagya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee therefore eats only prasad or foodstuffs offered to the Supreme Lord. And Krishna says that when a devotee offers him foodstuffs from the vegetable kingdom with devotion, he eats that. A devotee is to offer to Krishna foodstuffs prepared from vegetables. the Supreme Lord wanted foodstuffs prepared from animal food, the devotee could offer this. But he, that is Krishna, does not order to do that. So that's like the phrase, famous term Prabhupada used, that we are not vegetarians, but we are Krishnatarians.
Or prasadatarian.
Prasad, yeah. But I had Krishnatarian because we eat what he eats, he wants. So yeah. And also that's the is it caveat? Is that the word, caveat?
That means an exception.
No, okay, maybe it's not. The point being that in the previous verse you were saying about even
violence. Right.
Yeah, like even vegetables. Because someone might say who eats meat, oh, what about you? You're killing the vegetables and fruits. So then the point is, Prabhupada explains in this verse, so therefore we offer everything.
Yeah.
So therefore we make sure everything that we do eat is offered. And that doesn't mean, yes, I'll offer my double cheeseburger and my Philly steak. It doesn't mean that, because, as Prabhupada also says in this paragraph, Krishna didn't ask for that. So offer everything that you eat that's on Krishna's list of what he's prepared to eat, which makes sense, because if you're offering it to Krishna, then you would only offer what he says I'll eat. Just like if someone comes to your house and they've made it clear, look, we don't eat gluten, or I'm a vegan, or I don't eat tomatoes or anything that's orange, then you wouldn't offer that, would you? Just
to them, yeah, you would be considerate of the person you're offering to, and offer them what they like, kind of.
So if Krishna said this is what I eat, then you would surely be considerate to God and say, all right, don't worry, I won't offer. Well, I won't eat it either, because Prabhupada says I have to offer everything I eat, so that means I can't eat it because I can't offer it to you. Well, so it's like a cycle, like, oh my God.
Prabhupada quotes here the Bhagavad Gita, which is Yagisha Shashana Santo Muchanti Sarvakilvishad Bunjante Te Twagam Yapanchatma Karana, which means that the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sinful reactions because they offer the food that they eat first as sacrifice. So like that. So this offering process is very powerful. So by offering the food, it becomes free from karma, because we complete the cycle by offering it back to the origin from whence it came. So
and I think that's important. Sorry to Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, quoting Krishna, that devotees are relieved of simple reactions because they offer their food. So then that goes to show that even though you might feel, those in a mode of goodness, or there's some piety, I'm a vegetarian. No, but there's still simple reactions if you're eating that food in the mode of goodness, if it hasn't been offered. The key point is the connection with Krishna. This is the whole point. Like you started with discussing Mahatma Gandhi, and yes, but Prabhupada may appear to trash him, or because he's trying to get you just to, yes, but what was the connection with Krishna? And if it's not, then he doesn't want you diverted away. So it's no good just being, I hope I don't get beaten up, but just being vegan. But offer your food, even if you're vegan. It is good to be vegan, by the way, but I'm just saying. Anyway. Yeah,
the point is that there may be so many pious things to do in this world, and even to be ahimsa, as we're near Mahatma Gandhi, we can hear the beautiful parrots in the background. Even there was two of them overhead. Even if we're following ahimsa and being non-violent, but if our life is not trying to be dedicated to Krishna, all your non-violence is actually useless.
Then that was his...
Shrava eva hikevalam, which means it's all just a useless endeavor.
And this is a nice bridge for the final paragraph, which talks about violence.
Okay, here we go.
We didn't plan that.
We have to commit violence. You got that? That is natural law. We should not, however, commit violence extravagantly, but only as much as ordered by the Lord. Arjuna engaged in the art of killing, and although killing is of course violence, he killed the enemy simply on Krishna's order. In the same way, if we commit violence as it is necessary by the order of the Lord, that is called natihimsa. Interesting, isn't it powerful that this term, ahimsa, is being brought up as we're sitting here next to Mahatma Gandhi?
Yeah.
That is called natihimsa. We cannot avoid violence, for we are put into a conditional life in which we have to commit violence, but we should not commit more violence than necessary or than ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there you
this
go.
whole thing has been
Yeah.
relevant,
Relevant to the principle of Mahatma Gandhi's presence here. So there you go, and there you have it. And so we thank you all very much for tuning in.
Yes.
And we've been a little bit irregular with our readings of late. Our apologies for that. We've been preoccupied with other bits and pieces since coming back to London. And but we are getting back on the path. So so keep an eye out for the Bhagavatam Bites, and please remember, like, comment, share, and
subscribe.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to go to the camera now and spin it around and give you a little darshan of Mahatma Gandhi.
No.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.